You're listening to the Why That Work podcast presented by StoryBrand.ai. If you've ever wondered why certain brands, trends, or cultural phenomena find success while others don't, you're in the right place. Every week we unpack why something worked, then give you actionable insights that you can use in your own life. Now let's dive in with your hosts, Donald Miller and Kyle Reed.
Don, one of the most common questions we get from listeners is they want to build a personal brand, but they don't know where to start. This is a topic we talk about a lot. Important to me, important to you. I know you've built a great personal brand online. And so today I thought it'd be an interesting conversation to bring someone who I found on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It's a guy who's built a personal brand, and I think he's gone about it the right way. So what I'd love to do is bring up his account and kind of talk to you.
Let's do it.
You as a messaging expert, kind of break it down.
Yeah.
So the guy we're talking about today,
and I don't know this guy.
You don't know this guy. I don't think you follow him. And I have to say his name's slow because it can sound like Van Gogh. It's not Van Gogh. His name is Dan Go. Dan Go. On Twitter, he is at FitFounder. Now, the reason why he jumped out to me is I see him in my algorithm a lot. I think I follow him. I think he does a really great job of breaking down. He has a really strong bio, but then his content drives his kind of theme and focus in business and life.
Okay, let me just guess though. FitFounder.
FitFounder is his...
I mean, here's where my mind went. You tell me whether I'm accurate.
Yeah, come on.
He actually has like fitness advice, longevity advice, feel-good advice, workout advice, supplement advice, specifically for founders of companies?
Correct. That's exactly it.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing that you can actually build a thought leader brand on a niche that small. I mean, it's not necessarily small, but there's 1,000 fitness. There's a million fitness folks out there, million nutrition folks out there.
Yeah.
That alone speaks to the power of niching down. Can we just start there?
Absolutely.
I cannot believe that I was right on that.
Yeah.
I assumed you were going to go close, but because I thought that's too niche of a niche. So there you go. Okay, so we've already got lesson number 1.
Yes.
Niche the frick down.
Yeah. That's
fitness for
copyright that.
Fitness
niche
for
the frick down.
nichethefrickdown.com. Somebody grab that.
It's probably available. .co, not com.
Niche the frick.
Yeah, niche the frick.
Yeah, for those who don't cuss.
PC version. Yeah, you nailed it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Off that, just his name.
Well, I mean, it's also FitFounder. I mean, he got it. The other thing, let's just say about that, is he niched down, but the actual name, FitFounder, is an aspirational identity.
Yes, that's good. That's really good.
So let's just say that's another thing he got right. He niched down, and then he called it what it is, rather than some elusive title, like the great founder or the strong founder or whatever that people would have got confused about.
Yep.
No, it's a FitFounder.
Well, and he takes it a step further. I think the reason it caught my attention, his bio on X, let me read it to you, is health performance coach to entrepreneurs. Tweets on fat loss, optimizing the body, and he's on a mission to transform 1 billion lives through health and fitness. But I think
that's pretty strong.
I think that first line's great. He's a health performance coach to entrepreneurs.
There you go. And you know what he's not doing? He's not making anybody think about what he offers.
That's right.
He's not. And that's the number one mistake, and it's the reason that people are ignoring you if you're trying to be a thought leader. They can't figure out in less than a second what you offer. And I mean that. Less than a second. You cannot make people go, well, what does that mean? As soon as they say, what does that mean? Or what do you do? Or what do you whatever? Let me just give you an example. I was just on a call with the Small Business Flight School members. We have a thing called Small Business Flight School. It helps you grow your small business. And once a quarter, I get on and I do a Zoom call, and they ask me questions. Mm-hmm. One lady was medicaltraveloptions.com, I think. Medical travel options, something like that. What do you think she does?
She helps you prepare to travel, and if you get hurt, she knows where to go to a hospital.
Close. Okay. She sells foreign pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
It started out, but this is how this stuff happens.
Yeah.
This is how she got off target. Mm-hmm. It started out that she would help you get procedures overseas.
Okay.
Like, so if you needed knee replacement, it's $50,000 cheaper in Sweden. She can get you over there. It's a grade A hospital.
I see.
But it turned into 90+% foreign pharmaceuticals. So let's say metformin was $1,000 a month. but I can get it in Sweden for $200 a month, and it's a metformin. It's the same stuff. She's the one who helps you find that deal, and then gets it for you, and then so now you're getting foreign prices. I recommended that she buy foreignpharmaceuticals.com.
Yeah.
Because if I say, hey, if I said to you, I just talked to a woman, she has a company called foreignpharmaceuticals.com. Now, what are you assuming she does?
She helps me find pharmaceuticals that are overseas.
Yeah, I mean, you might have the curse of knowledge on because I actually told you what she does, but you're going to be a lot closer. And so that's what this Dan Go guy has done. He's got you're right inside the bullseye.
Mm-hmm.
You're right inside the bullseye. And if the bullseye is the name of what you do, or the name of your company, or the name of your service, or the name of your product, when you say it to somebody, you actually say, what do you think that is? And they tell you what it is, you've hit the bullseye.
Yes.
And I would say 95+% of people are off the bullseye. And if you want to grow your business, get the frick in the bullseye. There's the frick again for homeschool non-cussers. Get in the bullseye.
Yeah.
And that's your domain name, that's your tagline, that's your bio on X or Instagram or whatever. You want to get in there. So we've already identified 3 things that he's done really well. He niched down, two things. He niched down, and then what he called his service is in the bullseye.
Yep. And then emphasizing that for the example you gave from the small business flight school call you had today, she could then overemphasize that with a quick line of just, I help you find the pharmaceutical drugs for cheaper.
Well, she could actually say foreignpharmaceuticals.com, and the header on that website might say, buy the drugs you're already taking cheaper from overseas.
Yep.
So now it's their FDA. She even said they're FDA approved.
Yep.
That
does a lot of lifting.
Yeah. Yep. They're it's all legal, but she's helping you get it cheaper.
What I think Dan Go does a great job as well is, so he nails the name.
Yeah.
He nails his bio.
His niche,
very quickly. Like right away, I know. There's something aspirational about that too. I have a little bit more trust because
that was the third thing, by the way.
Yeah.
It's an aspirational identity.
He's working with entrepreneurs. So I go, oh, that's a high level class. So clearly there's some kind of trust. He's an expert in this. What I love what he does is then it drives all of his content strategy.
Yeah, it's a filter.
So it's 100%. And so if you go look at his account, it's not that everything is health and fitness, but 95% of it is.
Yeah.
He might throw a little bit of aspirational.
And that is a disciplined guy, because there's probably so much that he could talk about that is off bullseye topic.
Yep.
And it takes a lot of discipline to just not talk about it.
Yes.
And to actually say, I say this about Dr. Becky. Dr. Becky is probably my favorite parenting coach. She's helped me so well with my relationship with my little girl. And she is a psychologist who could probably give really, really terrific marriage advice, but she doesn't. And it's really, really smart for her not to do that.
Yep.
Now, she might be able to do that in the future when she's just got her own television show or whatever. But the way you get that television show is you niche down and you own parenting.
Right. Well, and he easily could start saying, like, here's lessons I've learned from founders about leadership. That would pull.
That's a good example of
he could do it. And it might be good.
Yeah.
It's working, though, for him. Let me tell you, his estimated follower and subscription, like just across all social platforms right now, is 2.5 million followers.
Gee whiz, man.
So he's got over 1 million followers on Instagram, 764,000 on X, 433,000 on LinkedIn.
Why do you like him? Why did you bring him up?
So I liked him because I love content marketing so much. When I see it done well, I immediately gravitate towards it. But then his content also delivers. So it's not just that he is playing the game correctly. He's actually delivering great value. So one of the things he has is his latest pin post. So depending on when someone's listening to this, it might not be theirs. It's simple. It's, if you buy supplements off Amazon, you need to read this. And then it is a long form thread talking why there are real ones and fake ones. And so I immediately am like, oh.
But okay, let's talk about that. If you buy supplements off Amazon, stop. What he identified was something that people can, what he spoke was something that people can identify with or not identify with. If you do this behavior. If you were to say to me, if you shop for double RL clothes on eBay, You need to read this. Double RL is a brand that a friend of mine started 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I do. Because he makes limited runs of everything. So I go on. I shouldn't even say this because now I'm going to have competition buying Double RL pants on eBay. He makes limited runs of those things, so you can't get them off of his website after a period of time. So I check eBay probably more often than I should to see if they are there. That's something that I would feel like somebody's reading my mail, right? Somebody's reading my journal.
Yep.
They're saying, if you do this, you better believe I'm going to read whatever he says. But if you said something like, if you like vintage clothes, I've got some helpful advice. It's not quite niched down to the point where I'm going to go, that guy's talking to me.
Yeah.
Right? He's talking to kind of us, but I don't, I wouldn't even identify with that. Vintage clothes is like hipster kids.
Yeah.
That's not me. But when the more specific you get, so if you buy supplements off of Amazon, you should read this. I think is a great hook, but let's actually unpack why. It's a great hook because it's something that people can identify in terms of their behavior and say yes or no to. Don't trust what's in the supplements you take. I don't even know that gets the response that if you buy supplements on Amazon, because I kind of go, well, come on, there's going to be a theory here, and I don't even think of these as supplements anymore. It's just vitamin D.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has a way of going about. There's two things I think he's doing, which also comes back to the niching down side, is he's also living out what he's teaching.
Okay.
So he's an incredibly in shape guy. He started as a gym owner. That's where he got started, and then pivoted into kind of this coaching side. But there's also like this authority there. So like when I read stuff like that, to your point, I have bought supplements on Amazon, and I've heard this in the murmurings that, don't do this because they could be fake. So that catches my attention immediately because it's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you said. He also tweets these little you're asking why I like him. He tweets these little things that kind of make you think, but gives a little bit of like motivation.
All right.
This was one he did not too long ago. A fit body is the ultimate status symbol because it can't be bought. It must be earned.
Oh, so good.
That's so good, right?
It's so good.
I think
that sounds like Dan Martell.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think
Dan Martell kind of has that same idea.
The other thing he's doing well, because I think people could hear this and go, okay, so I niche down. I have a good bio. I've used StoryBrand.ai to write that for me. I've got I'm an expert on this.
And let's talk about what he did there. He said, a fit body is the ultimate symbol of status because it's something that you can't buy. It has to be earned. He also, and by the way, what does he help you do? He helps you create a fit body.
Yes.
So what he did there was he included a little bit of negative stakes. And the negative stake, well, the positive and negative. The positive stakes are if you have a fit body, people are going to respect you and admire you, and you're going to, earn that respect. And if you don't, they won't.
Yeah.
So that is the positive and negative stakes based on whether or not you take his advice.
Yeah.
And that's an important part of the StoryBrand framework, right? You've got to have those positive and negative stakes, and that soundbite delivers on that.
There's also something to be said about he's actually talking to an audience that are of entrepreneurs who can kind of get what they like, especially successful ones, can kind of get whatever they want. The one thing they can't buy is a fit body. So how do you get that? You go work with him.
Yeah.
There's something subtle there too.
Yeah.
If you don't communicate clearly, all your emails, your website, social media posts, everything you're communicating will be ignored. StoryBrand.ai is like the world's best communication expert writing it for you. Imagine having the world's best communicator writing your tagline. Just type in the name of your company, answer a few prompts, and voila. Hey, that's a good one. Use it to write your social media posts, website wireframe, emails, lead generating PDF, product or service descriptions, anything you need for your business. What would happen to your revenue if every word that left your business was crystal clear and worth paying attention to? StoryBrand.ai is your competitive advantage, so you'll say it clearly. Try it right now and let us write your custom tagline for free at StoryBrand.ai. And now back to the show.
There's a couple of things I like about him. He also does these threads where it's like, here's one, fat loss hacks I know at 45 that I wish I knew at 25. And then it's just this long thread of content. There's another one where
listen, I'm like, oh, and what are they?
yeah,
Kyle?
exactly. And what are they? Things I know at 44 that I wish I knew at 24.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that. I think the thing
the only thing there is, I like the things I know about fat loss at 44. I think you just want to get a little bit more specific on that. Like things that I know about investing at 44 that I didn't know at 24. Things that I know about productivity at 44 that I didn't know at 24. I did one of the posts that I did on Instagram that went viral. I mean, like John Mayer liked it and Dwayne Wade liked it. It was weird.
You're famous.
was I thought 50. I wish I would have known that turning 40 wasn't getting old.
Yeah.
Because at 50, I'm realizing at 40, are you kidding me? I was so freaking young and I thought I was old.
Yeah.
Like I can't. And even at 50, I feel like I'm 30.
So, okay.
And I wish I would have known when I was younger that 40 actually just isn't very old. Like you can still like run marathons and have kids and build companies and do all sorts of things that I thought 40 was old. And that took off online. And I never really understood why, but I think it's because people, and you know who it took off with? 40-year-olds.
40-year-olds. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It took off with 40-year-olds because they're feeling old. And and I'm sitting there going, you're not.
Yeah. 20-year-old is skipping over that.
Right.
Okay, so let's actually, I want to dive in on that a little bit. Talk to me your creative process. How did you come up with that idea?
I think, my whole process on social media is Kate shows up.
Uh-huh.
Kate's my friend who's been running my social media for about 4 years. Went from 72,000 followers to 500,000 since Kate came on.
She's really good.
She's very good. She shows up once a week and she just prompts me. She just says, will you talk about this? People have questions about this. Would you talk about this? Half the time I say yes, and half the time I say, I won't talk about that, but that makes me think of this. Yep. And that was one of the ones where I think I said, I don't have anything on that, but I do have something on how I wish I would have realized how young I was at 40. And she goes, oh, that's interesting. And then she turns the camera on.
So where is that coming from though for you, that creative? Like, are you thinking about that? Is that something that struck
quite
you?
Honestly, it comes from having written, 15 books now.
Okay.
And having practiced, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it's been north of like 250,000 times that I've sat in front of a computer and tried to figure out what to say next. And by the way, you're doing that's 250,000 times of actually writing.
Yeah.
When you're writing, you're doing it 80 times before that writing session is done. So the ability to come up with a thought and articulate that thought has been rehearsed in my practice for decades.
Yeah.
So that's where that's coming from. And I used to think it was a gift, but I just think it's come from the writing life. And it's one of the sort of, ancillary benefits of having to think on your feet.
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm trying to find here for people listening to this is that creative process has to start somewhere for people.
Well, the way it starts is, and the way you can skip the decades of that practice is get in the habit of asking yourself before you start talking, what problem do people feel?
Yeah, that's really
What
good.
angst do people feel? What frustration do they feel?
Great place to
what
start.
Fear do they feel? What anxiety do they feel? What's causing them stress in the particular area that I'm about to talk about? So for me, that would have been identifying in very fast succession that 40-year-olds think they're old, and I'm about to tell them they're not. And, that was it. Yep. So, if you turn, it's something about turning 30 that was kind of like you feel like, you're getting old. 40 is like, oh my word. And looking back, I'm just going, are you kidding me? The 40 is not old at all. I mean, you haven't lost any capacities whatsoever. Why in the world do you think you're old? And so to speak that kind of peace and encouragement to folks, it makes sense when you reverse engineer it why it went viral.
So if we step back, the first thing I think people can do is the niche down part.
Yeah, you want to alleviate a pain.
Yes, and then
you
start asking that.
Start alleviating pain.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, and then I think the thing that people miss is once you ask that question, there's a process that you can do to come up with what I call endless ideas.
Okay.
And that is starting to just prompt yourself with exactly what you and Kate go through.
Oh, okay.
I think that is
And AI, by the way,
an AI
is
can help
so good at that. Like, give
tremendously.
me 25 prompts
Yep.
based on the. If you go to AI and you say, look, I'm a real estate agent. Will you give me 25 social media prompts based on 25 areas of pain, frustration, or fear that people have about buying a home?
Yes.
And ask me questions, and then give me bullet points on how you think I should answer those questions in order to provide the most value for people. You're going to get, really, really good ideas that hopefully will stimulate better ideas.
And that's the key. I think
That's
it's
the
the,
key.
it's the
You wanna iterate
stimulation
on
of you putting in, and you can even take it a step further for luxury home buyers, for first-time buyers.
Yeah. In Nassau.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of that niching down, because then it drives all your content strategy versus just
Yeah, if you said, look, the problem with finding your dream home in Nashville is, there you
boom,
go.
got it.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I love
The
that.
reason people pay twice what they should for a dream home in Nashville is I'm literally just spitting them out, right? And that's how you want
That's
to do
good.
that.
So what problem do people feel? Start there. I think that's so
What do
powerful.
people-
It's
what
good.
negative things. Right now, everybody's afraid of tariffs.
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid of AI. Everybody's afraid of an unstable kind of economic. Actually, it's an extremely stable economic environment, but consumer confidence is really low. So you might, if you're a business to business, just say, hey, everybody knows consumer confidence is really low. It shouldn't be, but it is. And here's what you can do about it. You know, that sort of thing.
Yep. Or it's like, hey, why is 2025 better than,
there you go.
1980 or whatever?
Yeah.
You could play off that. Okay. So one of the things I've been thinking about too is that social media, specifically the algorithm, is actually prone and made perfect for anyone starting or wanting to build their brand. And the reason is because when you niche down, when you ask the problem that I solve for my customer or for people following me, the algorithm does everything it can to get that in front of people.
Very cool.
Now, more than ever, there's an opportunity for anyone to grow by having a focus. What doesn't work is if you just show up with your name and you just randomly post stuff with no direction. And I think what people hear is that it's like, oh, niche down, I'm stuck here. I got to talk about, how to burn fat on my love handles every day. It's like, that's not true. There's a path forward here, but you can start there with direction and start to grow that and build that.
There's a brand right there. Oh, there's a brand. You just said it. There's a brand for just love handles.
Just love handles. just love handles at
I
just
got
love handles.
5 million followers at lovehandles.com.
I think Dan Go works because I think
great. What's great about him is it's not like Alex Hormozy or some of those guys that I obviously admire a great deal, or Gary Vaynerchuk. Those are personality-driven brands. Now, they make a lot of smart decisions in terms of their messaging, but Gary Vaynerchuk and Alex Hormozy have very, very charismatic, dynamic personalities that they are very good at getting attention, and most people listening to me are just not, including me. I'm not great at getting attention. But I built a good brand on just niching down business owners and messaging. And you can do it too.
And I think what we can also, I would highly encourage people to actually go look at Dan Go's account and copy, like just look what he's doing and see where you can fit into that and kind of follow his roadmap. I think there's another thing he's done really well, and that's he's picked one lane to kind of start in. And then once he started to build that up, he started to push that out everywhere else. So he didn't try.
Oh, you mean like he started on X and now he's
he didn't
working
try
on
to go,
Instagram?
okay, I'm gonna launch everything today. I'm gonna have a TikTok account, Instagram, YouTube, newsletter, LinkedIn account, X. Like that is overwhelming to most people starting a personal brand. He started in one spot. He wrote and he wrote for the platform, which I think is also super important, and then let it build from there. And he's become very successful. I'm gonna put you on the spot though, Don.
Okay.
So Dan Go, strong brand, working with a lot of clients, has built a online presence. If you were advising him what to do next in a business standpoint, what should he do with this personal brand?
I don't know what he's doing now.
Okay.
But there's several things that he could do. I mean, obviously he could launch sort of a mastermind that teaches people to kind of do what he's doing. He could launch so that is, how do you become a thought leader? He could do that. He could do a entrepreneur fitness sort of subscription service, either digital content, workout platforms if he used to own a gym, stuff like that, or supplements in a box or something like that. One of my favorite things, once he's getting there, I don't know if he's quite right there yet, but I know my friend Josh Axe did this. He began licensing his name. He began going into like supplement companies, approving the way they're creating and manufacturing things and what they're including and all that kind of stuff. And he just white labeled Ancient Nutrition. He sold it for hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know what it was, but it was a lot. And, once you become the thought leader, the area of expertise, the guru that people go to, you begin looking for the products that you recommend. And then you go to those products and you say, hey, if I put my name on this thing, you're going to double your sales. So why don't you give me a 20% equity in that? So he could actually, that's an option. That's a direction that he could go. And he could also do affiliates. I don't love that, but he could do affiliates where I recommend this and you get affiliates on that. There's a few different directions. I think where he's going, he's probably like 50% to the point where he could stick his name on a bottle of vitamin D with K2 and make some money. Like, I think it's Eric Berg, Dr. Eric Berg on YouTube.
Yeah.
I listen to him and he talks about the importance of vitamin D, but he says you've got to have it with K2. It's got to have K2.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, by the way. I don't know what K2 is.
But you trust him. But there's a trust there.
Well, but listen, I get my blood tested about every 3 months, and every time they say you're deficient in vitamin D, I'm like, but I take a vitamin D.
Yeah.
And I hear Eric Berg say this, and I'm like, well, it's probably a joke, but I'm going to buy his orange bottle that says Dr. Berg vitamin D with K2. And they, at the next blood test, like 2 blood tests later, I should say, they said, hey, you might want to go to one every other day. And in the summer, when you start getting sun, stop taking it because your vitamin D is off the charts.
Wow, because of the K2.
And I'm like, there you go.
And there's a great post for him.
He could actually take what I just said.
Your doctor is saying you're low on vitamin D, but you take it every day. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's an option for you if you're a thought leader, start sticking your name on things.
Gary Breck has done that really well, too.
You know who did that? Donald Trump.
Yeah?
Yeah, people think he owns these buildings.
Yeah, just put his name on the side of them.
Put his name on the side. He licensed his name.
Yes.
And probably did some sort of quality control on whatever. And I think there's variations of that. Yeah. Like to some, he licensed his name on some. The guy doesn't drink and he's got a wine. Yeah. You kidding me? He just licensed his name. Yeah. And ties and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that's what a lot of people don't understand is it looks like he's in the manufacturing and real estate business, and he's really in the name licensing business because he's very good at bringing attention to himself. But that said, he probably actually has some large equity stake and some control over the French fries they serve at whatever golf club too.
Definitely,
I don't mean to diminish that, but but he made a lot of money licensing his name.
Well, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about a personal brand, you're developing a personal brand, there's a couple things I think that you can take away from this. First is most important, niche down.
Niche down. Hit the arrow. Hit the bullseye.
Yes.
On what it's called, so that nobody has to think about what you're offering and who your niche is.
Nail that tagline. Nail that bio. That first line of your bio. This is exactly what I do. And then I think it's back to that question.
Learn to create hooks in your post.
Yes. What problem do people feel? And then just answer that. And I think there's 2 ways people can go about this. They can go about this on their own, and they can work on this. There's some other options we've created.
StoryBrand.ai.
I am a high proponent in. I don't think you need to outsource everything. But if there's one thing you can pick to outsource, it's get this beginning correct. You talk about this a lot with the tagline, sound bites. To me, those do so much work for you outside of the content. You can hire someone to do social media. It's worked great for you.
For a lot of businesses that I talk to, what's missing are what I call curiosity sound bites.
Yes.
And curiosity sound bites are sound bites that you can read that make people curious about your brand. That's what they're missing. I call it the front steps of a business. Yeah. It's like the porch is where you enlighten people as to how your products can change their life. The house is where they go to buy the products, and you don't have any steps. Yep. So people can't even get to your front porch because you don't have curiosity sound bites. I write the curiosity sound bites for you at StoryBrand.ai.
Yes.
How's that for a sound bite?
That's really strong. And you can try to build those steps yourself. If you're like me, they won't hold up. Yeah. So check out StoryBrand.ai. Also, if you want to take it a step further, go check out a StoryBrand coach. That is another great option where they're going to help you write a great tagline, write a great brand
Well,
script.
they'll help you come up with an entire StoryBrand messaging campaign, and that's at marketingmadesimple.com.
Yes, there's so much.
Find those guys.
There's so much value there for people. So hope this episode was helpful. Go check out Dan Go on Twitter or wherever you.
And Dan, thanks for letting us talk about your
Absolutely.
brand. Congrats on your success.
Thanks for listening to the Why That Worked podcast presented by StoryBrand.ai. If you like the show, follow wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're enjoying this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment letting us know what you think and what you want the guys to talk about in a future episode. Curious about how StoryBrand.ai can help you create clear, effective messaging? Well, you can try it out right now and create a free customized tagline for your business. Just go to StoryBrand.ai. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.